welcome to Hudson Valley Knits. And hear the train. So I am Amy, your host. This is episode, I believe, 89. Thank you for joining me. I am actually about halfway through a hike up a mountain called Anthony's Nose. I've podcasted from here before, actually, from this very log I'm sitting on. A few years ago with Rachel, my daughter. I'm alone today, which is something you should never do. You should never go hiking alone, because if something happens to you, you have no one to help you. But I will be staying on the trail, and this is a trail that's heavily used, so eventually someone would find me. I am just going to do the introduction from here. I have my stuff in my backpack to show you, so I'll kind of maybe set up something when I get to the top and go through my whips. But I wanted to welcome you all. I'm going to talk today about the Summer Stripe along and where we're going with that, and it's also the beginning of a new segment of the goals contest for 2017, so I'll go into that in a little more detail when I get to the top. But right now I have to climb up that little incline there. I just came from over there. And thanks for joining me. By the way, it's July 9th and it is 70 degrees out. It is cool and breezy, and I just am flabbergasted that we have such a beautiful day that's not sweltering hot in July. It's really unusual, so I'm really thankful to be out enjoying the weather today. I'll see you guys when I get to the top. Hey, I'm back, and I think I found a really cool spot. So, I told you before that I was going to get to the top and talk about the whips, but I'm almost to the top. But I found this little side trail that led to this little opening here, and it's very nice. So I think I'm going to podcast from here. So I will go right into whips. I did not bring my FOs up to the mountain with me because it was too much to carry. So I'm only going to be showing you my whips from this vantage point. Actually, let me scoot it over a bit, because I think you're going to... Yeah, that's a better piece of the view, huh? That's looking north up the Hudson. Anyway, I will I'm planning on going to a little park near my house, Croton Point Park, or Sinasqua Park, which is right along the river, maybe later, and I'll show you my FOs from there. So anyway, without further ado, I've stuffed them all in my little backpack, and I'm also going to talk about like what my next project would be, because I just I got 2 items off the needle, so I have some you know, freedom now to cast something else on. And I'm really in an awkward position too. I had a hard time finding a good place to podcast from because where the sun is. So it was either find a comfortable place to sit and a good view, but the sun's glaring in my face, and then you won't see anything because the glare will ruin everything. Or it was sit here in the shade and get good light for you, but uncomfortable to sit. So I chose uncomfortable to sit, so you might see me kind of like squirming around a little, and I apologize. Or running from bears. And I'm laughing, but it's always a possibility around here. Alright. First whip is one that you've seen before. It is in my Jan Smiley canoe bag, and it is my stripy socks. I'm still on the first sock. This is just my pocketbook knitting, so it's not getting a lot of love. I did a fish lips kiss heel, pulling from the end of the other end of the little skein. So she Muststash yarns. It's this Muststash yarns. It was a special School of Socks colorway that I had frogged from the School of Socks pattern that it came with. So they're, you know, 2 self-striping, oh gosh, I'm making a mess. They're 2 self-striping skeins, and what I did is I pulled from the center pull to do the heel. And what happens with the fish lips kiss, and I guess any short row heel, when you do that, is there comes one point where you'd have to go over the instep of the foot to go all the way around and pick up the yarn on the other side with the heel yarn. And what that would have done, it would have given me one row of the wrong color. So I thought I was being smart, and I basically kept cutting the yarn so that I could knit in the same color across the instep. But then I had these huge gaps because I had ends, right? And it's hard to kind of visualize maybe. And you can see my knitting is so much looser. You can see it puckering and looser. Oh, here. Where on the row I cut the yarn. So I'll never do that again. I'll just deal with the stripe, or I'll just keep going with the yarn and not pull from the center. Sorry for the train. But that's my sock. I basically was a little farther up the leg when I last showed this to you. So I did get past the heel, and I'm working on the foot now of just the first sock. And this project is for the Summer Stripe CAL, which there is a separate Ravelry group for, so please come check it out. It's called Summer Stripe and that's the name of the Ravelry group, and I've been posting links to it. And till the end of August, for any stripey project that you finish, you can put it there as an FO. It has to have been started after June 1st. And there's lots of prizes. And I'm doing this in conjunction with other podcasts too. So that is my first one, and that is for the Stripe CAL. The second one is another one you've seen. And I have put a little more, I'm sorry, it's just, I'm uncomfortable. I have put a little more work into this. It kind of was on the back burner because I was working on the other projects, which are now finished objects. So I'm gonna actually put this over my head and show it to you. This is the Cullum sweater. It's a Princeton Company pattern. I am using Knit Picks Lindy chain to do this. It's a linen and cotton blend as opposed to a pure linen, and I love the feel of it. And this is a pattern by Isabele Kraemer for Princeton Company, and I'm enjoying it. So I am almost to the point where I'm going to join back in the round, so I'm finishing the sleeves. And I really want to get this done. It's for the Fruity Knitting You and Me CAL. I already knit a linen summer top for my daughter, and she's has that with her out in Salt Lake City, where she's now living, and this one's for me. So that is this, and I know you can't really see the lace. Oh yeah, you can. There you go. Beautiful little lace detail up by the neck. So that is my second whip, and that is also in a Jan Smiley bag. The canoe bag was a Jan Smiley bag. This is a Jan Smiley bag. It's a little bigger, and it's got frogs. And if there's two kind of things that I really kind of lean to, one is anything with frogs, because I used to tell this wide-mouthed frog joke when I was a kid. And everybody associates me with frogs and would buy me frog things, like a mug with a frog, or a t-shirt if it, you know what I mean, silly stuff like that. So when I saw Jan post this bag, I had to buy it. And the other thing I like is anything with water, because I live near the Hudson and I've always loved being near the water. If you haven't guessed that already. And so just those two things. And the canoe bag is basically because I kind of grew up in a canoe. We always went canoeing in the river, in the lakes in the area. Okay, so that is that. I have with me also my Alice Starmore cardigan. It's the Abalone cardigan. I only did a couple of rounds in this, but I brought it anyway. Oops, dropped my yarn. But I'll show you. Beautiful as ever. Yeah, I'll take a little progress picture here. Beautiful scenery or what have you. But here it is. I'm a little more than halfway done with the first motif. Loving it. Just love it. Love. Oops, my stitches came off the needle. No big deal. It's stuff. You could take the needles out of this and nothing will happen to your stitches because of the yarn. So I threw this in a bag with another project, but let me show you. Dang on it, it's like all over the place here. I cast on a new project, a lace shawl for the Brooklyn Tweed Lace CAL that just started on July 7th. And I decided to cast on a project that's been in my queue for years since it first got published. This is the Rock Island shawl, and I'm knitting it with his lace yarn. Oh, now I forget, but here's the picture. He rewrote the pattern for his new yarn, which I will find out in just 1 second. Doesn't list the yarn. I didn't bring the, did I bring it? Let me see. Sorry. Oh, Vale. That's the name of his new lace yarn, Vale. And I'm using it in the color, I'm doing it in the color Heron, which is just a bluish gray. It's a very springy yarn. It's not going to be a very drapey thing unless you knit it very loose. The yarn itself has a lot of give, and I'll kind of show you. And it just springs back, whereas, and it's squishy. It is, I think, a 3-ply, but it is really, really stretchy. Whereas, which means it will tend to, and I won't, you know, I don't want to like sound like super affirmative, but it will tend to not hold the, show the lace pattern as well because it's springy. Whereas something with some cotton or linen or silk in it will hold the lace blocking much better. So, but we'll see how it comes out. I really wanted to give his new yarn a new try. It was only 2 skeins were needed. It was $20-something, which is really not bad at all. So I did that. So the one last thing I wanted to show you is some yarn I got there in the Summer Stripe CAL Ravelry group. We had a stripey yarn exchange and like swap, and I participated and I got this yarn from my swap partner and I absolutely love it. It's called Pumpkin Patch from Night Owl Fibers, and I love the colors. Here's the other side. Here's the colors. I hope you can see this pretty well. It's really, really beautiful. I love the green and blue. It reminds me of a pumpkin patch. So I brought that to show you. And last but not least, so I have some, I think I have enough room for one more project to be cast on. And I kind of want it to be something for the Summer Stripe Along, although I don't know if I would finish them in time, but I don't know. Maybe I would. But I can't make up my mind. So I'm going to show you what I'm thinking about. And this is the one that I had in mind to knit all along next. Before I even cast on the Brooklyn Tweed Rock Island shawl, which I wasn't going to do, but at the last minute I decided to do it. So my next project, I want it to be stripey and I want it to be kind of mindless, something I don't really need to like count a lot or, you know, have to constantly look at a pattern to keep track of where I am. So my first one is I have this kit, and this will also be good for my next, both of these projects actually will both fit into the Summer Stripe Along and my Goals CAL that I have. And the next phase is use yarn that's been in your stash since before 2017, and both of this kit I got at Vogue Knitting Live a couple of years ago. It's for On the Spice Market by Melanie Berg. I just brought the pattern so you can see the picture. It looks fairly simple. Might have a little bit of sections where I have to kind of pay attention. Probably more so than the other pattern I'm considering. And I'm also thinking this might be, oh wow, sorry, eagles, beautiful. This would be the Christmas present for my sister Kim. It's her turn to get a Christmas present this year. These are colors that she loves, and I'm kind of jealous because I liked it myself, but no, it would definitely be for Kim. So the other option is this art yarn kit. Birds, eagles, beautiful. I wish you could see it. For Shivago wrap, it's a subtly stripy project, chevron stripes to be exact, and I think you can kind of make out how there's different stripes of chevron pattern in there. This has been in my stash for, I think, maybe even 3 years. I'd have to check the exact date I added it. But I was on Instagram, or maybe it was Facebook yesterday, and she's doing a little giveaway, and she is, and I say she, but art yarns are like my favorite brand of yarn. I would say maybe not more than Spirit Trail Fiberworks, which is a little more affordable and, in my opinion, just as luxurious and well dyed, but it's really up there. I have a few projects that I've knit with art yarns, and I'm never disappointed. Her yarns are absolutely stunningly, beautifully dyed, and she's got the sequins and sparkles, and I love that. And it's just the highest quality you could absolutely get. It's definitely a luxury yarn, and it is rather expensive. But I've had this kit in my stash for a while, and I'm thinking maybe it's time. I just got jonesing to knit with some art yarns, and this is the last of my art yarn stash. I don't have it. Oh no, I have 2 skeins of her merino. Lightweight fingering that I still have to knit up, but you know, I can't make up my mind because I really want to knit with some art yarn, but I really wanted to get this done so that I can make sure my Christmas present knitting is done kind of early. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, if you have an opinion, let me know. I don't want to cast them both on because that would just be too many projects on the needles, and then I'll never get anything done. And I have to at least finish the socks before the end of August so that I can complete something for the Summer Stripe Along. Yeah, so let me just talk really briefly before I go about the whatchamacallit. Oh, you know what? I forgot to pull the name for the prizes for the last quarter. I'll do that later and add it on in the end, but it is my 2017 goals contest, which I'm doing a lot different this year. Every quarter is a new theme based on my goals for 2017, And the last quarter, my goal was to complete some whips. And one of my FOs, which I'm showing you later, the Glam Lamb, was definitely a very old whip that had been sitting in the closet for quite some time. However, the new quarter is going to be knitting with yarn that's been in your stash since before the beginning of this year, 2017. So nothing can't be anything made with something you bought this year. It has to be made with something you bought last year. And I'm saying whips are okay as long as they're less than 50% complete. So, I mean, because whips were, and I basically decided to do it that way because whips were one of my goals. So even though the contest this quarter isn't for whips, I'm allowing you to use whips, which kind of makes it easy peasy. So definitely dig through that old stash and figure out what you want to make with it, and let's get rid of some of that old stash and make room for new stuff. This had started July 1st and will continue through the end of September. And after that, the last one is knitted socks. So for the last 3 months of the year, you can knit on socks. All right, so the prize for the next quarter, I know I pulled it out already and now I can't remember what I pulled out. I'll have to get back to you on the prize. Oh yes! The prize is going to be a physical and digital book of A Year of Techniques by Jen Arnell, and her last name, but I have this. I subscribe to it, and you get a new pattern every month. And in September, she's gonna mail out the completed book. So my leg is falling asleep right now. Sorry. And I'm giving it as a gift. Every new technique is every new pattern is demonstrating a new technique that she creates great videos, tutorials showing you how to do them. So I just thought it was a great book, and that's what I'm going to be giving. And what I'll do is I'll order it and have it shipped to you. So that is it. I'll have a link to it in the show notes. And yeah, so that's it. So start knitting with your old stash and let's get rid of it. That's it for now. I will be back from another location to show off my finished objects. And I'll also take a little video of this view for you. Ciao for now. So there's the trail that came off the main Adirondack or Appalachian Trail that goes to the top of Anthony's Nose, which I'm almost to the top. And I'm not going to tell you exactly where it is because I would love having this space all to myself. And there's actually some latitude and longitude markers over there, which maybe I'll take a picture of. But you come out and there's just this like little plateau of rock and this beautiful view. So that's looking north up the Hudson. Sorry. That's looking north up the Hudson towards West Point. Kind of Cornwall behind there. And you could kind of, right there is West Point. That's West Point right there. Barely visible in the background. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And then back there through the trees is Bear Mountain. Let's take a look. This just never gets old, guys. This just never gets old. I love it. It's Bear Mountain Bridge. See, that's Ashen Lake over at the Bear Mountain Inn Park. There's all the hikers. Flag.
And you're running.
Hey, so it's now the end of the day and I'm back in Croton, by the river to show off the finished objects I was telling you about. And here is probably my favoriteest shawl ever now, and it is Exploration Station by Stephen West. As a matter of fact, both my FOs are by Stephen West. And this is made with the Spiritual Fiberworks Sunna, and it's also stripy, so it's for the Summer Stripe along. But I love the colors and how well they go together, and I like especially like the pop of the hot pink, because it's like one of my favorite colors. But I think the gold and the blue kind of tone it down and give it like an earthiness, and the natural color for the trim is beautiful. And I just, I really love this pattern a lot, and I highly recommend it to anyone, and really think I might even do another one, but, and with this yarn, because this yarn is so soft and squishy. So here it is, done. I'm not putting it on. It's actually not too hot out today, believe it or not. We got a nice cool breeze, but I'm still not going to try on the Glam sweater, so. Look at that. This is the biggie. Also by Stephen West. This is for our daughter who's out in Utah. And, well, I'll give you a picture, but basically this big collar part is the top, and it's for snuggling up in. And then the sleeves are way down here, and it's kind of like a poncho thing. The sleeves only go up to like your mid-arm. And I made this out of hand spun that she picked from my hand spun stash, and it's actually one of the first hand spun I ever made. And yeah, the only thing is I would have made it a little longer at the bottom of the sleeves. Oh hell, let me show it to you so you could see. Now of course Rachel's a lot smaller than me, so she'll be a lot more snuggled up in it, but you can see on the side, you have to kind of pull it down. It's a little short in the back. So maybe I would have put, I don't know, a couple of inches more stitches on it. But this is how it's supposed to wrap around you. There's no pockets, it's almost like a blanket with sleeves with these cool points at the end. And that's enough of wearing this, but I'll probably mail it out to her when it starts getting cool, maybe in the autumn. I was gonna wait and give it to her when she comes home for Christmas, but you know what? It would take up a lot of luggage space, so it would probably be cheaper for me to mail it to her. So that's basically it. Those were my finished objects, my two Stephen West finished objects. One was a whip that I pulled out of the closet. I started it like 3 years ago, so that went for the goals knit along that I have going on, and the other one for the stripe along. And I love them both. I also was talking before about wanting to cast on another project, and I mentioned the Shivago wrap by Art Yarns, and then I also mentioned the On the Spice Market wrap by Melanie Berg. And I think what I've decided is I'm going to finish that Cullum sweater first that I'm knitting with the Knit Picks linen, and then I'll cast on one of those, or maybe even both of theirs, because I figure I want to get the stripy socks done by the end of the summer, and I just think I would have too many projects on the needles. So for now it's just going to be the Alice Starmore cardigan, the stripy socks, and the Cullum pullover, and the Rock Island shawl that I just started, that I showed you, which is actually going pretty quick. And that's it, guys. So don't forget to join the Ravelry group for the stripe along, and don't forget to cast on using your old stash so you can win prizes for the goals contest. And I'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Bye.